On this Sunday night, tragedy in Vancouver.
The casualties are unimaginable.
Many killed and dozens more injured when a man drives an SUV into a crowd at a Filipino festival Saturday night.
This is the darkest day in our city's history.
What we know about the suspect in custody and his motive, plus reaction.
Those families are living every family's nightmare.
Our hearts are with you today.
On the last day of the federal election campaign.
I don't have the words to describe the sorrow that I'm feeling right now.
Global National. Reporting tonight, Colleen Christie.
Good evening. Thanks for joining us. Messages of condolence are coming in from across the country and around the world following a tragic mass casualty event in Vancouver last night. The driver of an SUV crashing through a crowd at a Filipino celebration. Police now say 11 people are dead, ranging in age from 5 to 65. Many more are in hospital. The suspect has now been identified as Kai G. Adam Low, seen here just after the incident unfolded. He's been charged with multiple counts of murder. Authorities do not believe it was an act of terrorism.
The individual in question has a significant history of mental health issues. And fourthly, he is known to police for a multitude of mental health interactions. Now, it would appear that mental health appears to be the underlying issue here.
Today, the scene is littered with debris and surrounded by police tape as investigators comb the area and mourners leave flowers in tribute to those killed. Our Neetu Garcha joins us from the scene. Neetu, what more are police saying?
Colleen, police say there are still many questions, including the motive and whether anything could have been done to prevent this tragedy, as this tight-knit community, as you'll see by one of the growing memorials behind me, just begins a long road to healing. A warm spring evening in Vancouver meant to celebrate Filipino culture and community shattered in moments.
Emergency has been dispatched.
A black SUV plowed into the crowd in a narrow street lined with food trucks just as the Lapu-Lapu festival was winding down.
I remember hearing like a woman, she was like, I smell blood. I hear blood, I hear crying.
Have ended in tragedy like this, it won't break us or the community, but it's horrible.
Multiple people were killed, dozens more injured, and a death toll police say could rise in the coming days.
This is the darkest day in our city's history.
I ran down right after, and there was just people were running back this way frantically, running out into all directions.
Police say there were no warning signs or security concerns ahead of the festival.
The system has worked up to this point, and of course this will be a watershed moment for everyone involved at the city, police department, ambulance, all the stakeholders going forward on operational changes.
A 30-year-old Vancouver man is in custody. Police say he had a long history of mental health challenges.
Unbelievable restraint to not exact justice right there in that moment. But I want to turn the rage that I feel into ensuring that we stand with the Filipino community, that we deliver what they need.
We're trying to figure out the next steps and gain clarity on what we can do to heal and to grow stronger.
The Filipino community will show true resilience, and we will come together out of this catastrophe with the support and the love from the broad community, from all of you in the public.
The tragedy has shaken the community, which is now rallying to support victims and each other.
Or they are strangers to us, but we're still one community. You know, we just wanted to pay respect for the people who lost their lives here.
In this tight-knit corner of Vancouver, a city and a community are beginning the long path to healing. Now, important to note, police say the suspect did have prior contact with officers, but nothing that warranted involuntary care or hospitalization. And they say his most recent interaction with police was the day before this incident. Colleen?
Neetu, you were at the festival last night covering the NDP campaign.
Yeah, Colleen, I was one of the accredited media members following Jagmeet Singh's election campaign. He was here on this field to my right, interacting with families and young people, hundreds out. It was a lively music festival type vibe, and we left around 8:10 p.m. for his next campaign event. My car was parked in this intersection just feet away from where this incident occurred in that narrow street to my left, and it's still shocking to imagine what happened just about 5 minutes after we left.
Neetu Garcha in Vancouver, thank you. Joining us now is Global BC's Jason Perez, who was emceeing festivities at the Lapu Lapu Festival yesterday before the event occurred. Now, Jason, can you walk us through your experience yesterday?
Yeah, Colleen, so much positive anticipation. Last year for the inaugural event, it was pouring rain, but still massive crowd. And this year, sunshine. So organizers were so excited for record crowds. And there were, you know, a typical festival of vendors selling great food, performers, musicians, and really building up to the evening performance. A member of the Black Eyed Peas performed, and you had a couple thousand people there. And then right after, you know, all that joy just shattered by evil, and just horrible to see.
Okay, Jason, what does this event mean to the Filipino community of which you're a member?
Yeah, it was supposed to commemorate the Filipino history, but not just that, but celebrate the resilience of the Filipino people and the joy. I think all Canadians know someone that has Filipino roots, you know, whether it's
or we have relatives.
Exactly. Hospitality industry, the health industry, caregivers for seniors and child. It's a very compassionate community. And I think why the entire country is reeling tonight, because everyone kind of knows someone impacted. And so that's why our hearts go out with the victims and the families especially.
Well, thank you so much for that, Jason.
Okay.
Reaction to what happened yesterday is pouring in from around the world. King Charles says he and his wife, Queen Camilla, send our deepest possible sympathy at a most agonizing time for so many in Canada. Ukrainian President Volodymyr Zelensky posted as well, writing, "Ukrainians deeply share the pain of Canadians, Vancouver residents, and the Canadian Filipino community." The president of the Philippines says he is completely shattered and that his country is one with the families of the victims and the Filipino community in Vancouver during this difficult time. As Neetu mentioned earlier, NDP leader Jagmeet Singh was at the Lapu Lapu Festival just minutes before tragedy struck. Tonight, he, along with the other major party leaders, are expressing shock and solidarity with the victims and their families. Hadi Petracek has that part of the story.
To everyone grieving today, we see you, we mourn with you, we stand with you.
Jagmeet Singh was full of emotion, talking about the horrific events in Vancouver, events he was so close to.
And I can't stop thinking about how much happiness was there, how much it was a family event. People were so positive and so joyful, and then to have such a horrific thing happen, I keep on replaying it.
Singh had visited the Lapu Lapu Festival Saturday evening, leaving just 5 minutes before the vehicle plowed into a crowd there. So on Sunday, Singh's planned itinerary was shortened to just this event in BC.
It is a dark day, and it's hard to kind of bounce between talking about, I want people to vote for us, but also I'm so torn up about this. So it's a really tough day.
It is the final day to address voters in a campaign in which the NDP has seemed to struggle to gain ground.
The polls don't help us do the work.
The riding of Halifax has a long NDP history, as that of the late Alexa McDonough. And candidate Lisa Roberts narrowly lost to the Liberal incumbent in 2021.
And it hasn't been Conservative in 40 years. And so it is different than the national story.
Although that story suggests NDP support has been shifting to the Liberals.
Because they are thinking about things involving Trump in particular. And so it's just the NDP is squeezed out.
But on this day, the aftermath in Vancouver was Singh's biggest priority and included a call to BC Premier David Eby.
You're not alone. We are here with you. We're going to stand with you.
The push towards Election Day eclipsed by tragedy. Hadi Petracek, Global News, Halifax.
Liberal leader and frontrunner Mark Carney assumed the role of Prime Minister for a short time this morning. Carney among the many world leaders expressing shock, sadness and solidarity over the tragedy in Vancouver. Mackenzie Gray is covering the Liberal campaign and joins us now from Edmonton. Mackenzie.
In the final 24 hours of the campaign, Colleen, Mark Carney tried to thread the needle between pushing the Liberals' central election message and showing compassion for the victims of the Vancouver car incident.
Last night, families lost a sister, a brother, a mother, a father, a son, or a daughter.
Starting the day with his Prime Minister hat back on, Carney was briefed by both the National Security Advisor and Public Safety Minister, before reverting to Liberal leader and running back to Saskatoon for the second time this campaign.
You know, we need to draw on that strength at times like this, but more broadly, if I may, in the broader crisis that we face.
Trying to transition from talking about the Vancouver incident to what he wants the ballot question to be: Donald Trump.
They are trying to break us. They are trying to break us so they can own us. Now, that's not going to happen.
Those lines have helped propel Carney into the lead for the entire election, which is held in the final Ipsos poll of the campaign, showing the Liberals ahead by 4 points. But it's never over till it's over.
It's too early to say whether it's a minority or a majority, but both are definitely in play. Normally at this stage of the game, we should be able to say, but it is a tight race.
The next Prime Minister of Canada!
Carney trying to help solidify that lead by heading to his hometown of Edmonton, hoping to steal an NDP and a Conservative seat, but they'd planned to go bigger on the final day. Before the Vancouver incidents, large rallies in Calgary and Richmond, BC were planned, both subsequently cancelled. But Carney still headed for his scheduled final stops of the campaign, Vancouver and Victoria.
While in BC, Carney will join Premier David Eby to pay his respects for those impacted in the Filipino community, Colleen, before taking a red-eye back to Ottawa, where the Liberal leader will hold his election night event.
Mackenzie Gray in Edmonton tonight. Thanks, Mackenzie. The Conservatives are facing questions and criticism tonight for reposting a social media video that links the Vancouver Lapu-Lapu tragedy to the Liberals' approach on crime. This even as we learn mental illness was likely the aggravating factor. The person who made the initial video removed the reference to the tragedy in Vancouver. But as Turia Isri reports, the Conservatives are not responding to questions about the post.
Colleen, Conservative leader Pierre Poilievre's last rally in the Greater Toronto area went ahead as scheduled, but it began on a somber tone. Before Poilievre took the stage, the crowd paused and remembered the victims of the Vancouver attack.
If we can have a moment of silence.
The Conservative leader began his address by offering condolences.
All of our hearts and prayers are today with Canada's brilliant and proud Filipino community who've lost so much. I ask you to say a little prayer.
Poilievre paid a visit to a Filipino church in Mississauga, meeting with the pastor and parishioners.
I don't want to cry.
Less than 24 hours after the tragedy, the Conservative Party reposted this video. The caption below read, "Violent crime is on the rise in Canada. What happened in Vancouver last night is a reminder of that. Police said the suspect was known to them. How are we allowing these people to roam freely?" The party shared the post despite the many unknowns. Investigators have only said the suspect had a significant history of interactions with police related to mental health issues. The caption was later changed and the reference to the Vancouver attack removed.
After 10 long years of Liberal failure,
Global News asked if the post politicized the attack, but a spokesperson did not answer that question. The Conservatives who have campaigned to crack down on violent crime put out this ad on Sunday.
Crime is out of control. It isn't an accident. It didn't just happen.
It paints a bleak picture if Mark Carney wins.
The next Prime Minister of Canada, Pierre Poilievre!
In the final sprint, Poilievre focused his attention on southern Ontario. Poilievre ends the campaign in his Ottawa riding before Canadian voters ultimately decide if he's the change they want. Colleen?
Turia Isri covering the Conservative campaign. Thank you. And Donna Friesen will anchor our live coverage of the federal election tomorrow. Decision Canada starts at 7 p.m. Eastern, 4 Pacific on Global and all of our streaming platforms. Coming up is sorting the truth from the campaign rhetoric, where the three main parties stand on health care. Trade, Trump, and the economy have taken center stage in this federal election campaign, but polling shows healthcare is still a top priority for many Canadians. Catherine Ward has more on what parties are promising and what industry leaders say needs to change.
Canadians have had about a week to dig in and compare the healthcare promises on the table. Improving access to primary care was a common theme in all party platforms.
We know there's 6.5 million Canadians who don't have a family doctor in this country.
Part of the Conservative plan focuses on growing the workforce by making it easier for doctors to come and work in Canada. They also want to maintain existing agreements for pharmacare and dental coverage.
We need to ensure our health care is available for our people. And that is why my platform commits to working with the provinces, maintaining the promised increases in health care with no cuts whatsoever.
The Liberals have several initiatives. One is making it easier for health workers to move between provinces and territories.
Because as it stands right now, we have to have a license in each province or territory that we work in, and it doesn't allow us to respond if there's, say, coverage for a weekend where we could help out in another province.
They are also hoping to help doctors open clinics in underserved communities.
In America, healthcare is a big business. In Canada, it is a right. And we will protect that right while modernizing the system, recruiting more doctors and nurses, and expanding coverage.
The NDP is also looking to expand coverage.
We want to expand pharmacare and expand healthcare and defend the things that you hold dear.
There are still a huge need for medications across all different medication classes. So people who have heart disease, mental health issues, and there's opportunities for us to target some of those funding specifically for people who don't have coverage.
Plus, there are other things industry leaders say are important.
So I'd like to see commitments from every party to fighting against misinformation, and that means investing in communications from Health Canada's website or Public Health Agency of Canada.
Ultimately, the associations we spoke with did not say which party they would prefer, but they did commit to working and collaborating with whoever forms government come Monday. Catherine Ward, Global News, Toronto.
Ahead, as the death toll rises, so do questions about a massive explosion in Iran. The death toll has risen in Iran following a massive explosion in a southern port city. It happened while Iran and the U.S. were engaged in nuclear negotiations in Oman. While the two incidents have so far not been linked, as Candice Cole reports, Iranian authorities have raised concerns.
Red Crescent workers in Iran continue to search for survivors at the Shahid Rajai shipping port following a violent explosion Saturday night. This harrowing CCTV footage captures the moment the explosion took place as people quickly ran away to seek cover. The blast could be felt for more than 30 kilometers from the blast site. Russia's President Vladimir Putin has sent several emergency planes to help extinguish the flames, which raged on for almost 24 hours following the explosion. Sunday, Iran's president Masoud Pezeshkian offered condolences to the families of those who lost loved ones. Shahid Rajai is Iran's largest shipping port, responsible for a majority of its maritime trade traffic. Iranian authorities say the blast was likely due to a chemical explosion that was set off in one of the shipping containers. Saturday's deadly explosion happened as Iran and the U.S. engaged in a third round of nuclear talks in Oman, which could result in lifting economic sanctions against Iran in exchange for the country limiting its nuclear program. While the two incidents have not been linked, Iran's foreign minister raised concerns last week that Israel may try to sabotage those negotiations. Back in 2020, Israel was reportedly behind a cyber attack at the Shahid Rajai port, largely believed to be in retaliation for an attempted cyber attack by Iran. Israel has denied any responsibility for Saturday's blast. Candice Cole, Global News, Washington.
In Russia, authorities have charged a suspect linked to a car bomb that killed 2 people in Moscow on Friday, including a high-profile Russian general. Investigators say they've filed terrorism charges against a Ukrainian citizen and released this video of his arrest. They say not only has he pleaded guilty to the bombing, he also apparently admitted to working with Ukraine's security services. The Kremlin had already blamed Ukraine for the incident, but Kyiv has not commented on it. No one else has claimed responsibility. A day after his funeral, mourners are lining up to pay their respects at Pope Francis's tomb. Thousands of people attended Rome's St. Mary Major Basilica, each getting just a few seconds to say goodbye. A single white rose was placed on his tomb, which is inscribed with Franciscus, the Pope's name in Latin. Next, we head back to Vancouver as the city takes a moment to mark one of the darkest days in its history. In Vancouver, tens of thousands took part in the city's annual Sun Run, one of North America's largest 10K runs. Organizers held a moment of silence before the race began to honor the victims and to stand in solidarity with people impacted by yesterday's tragedy at the city's Lapu Lapu Festival. As Canadians grieve the unimaginable pain and grief from yesterday's loss of life, we leave you tonight with more scenes from the aftermath of the Lapu Lapu Festival tragedy. Good night.
So I feel sorry for the parents who lost their children and children who lost their parents. So offering prayers for them.
We just have to be strong and be together.
I had some friends come here and they luckily left before it all happened, but even if I didn't know the people who were involved, like they're still one of us, and that still hits close to home.
We have to be together. We cannot let this solitary act impact us. We have to stand by each other's side, cry together, and be joyful together too, just like they did yesterday in Lapu Lapu, and so we are here today.